Second, we are here today to have a look at what we did, what the team has been working on over the last few months. What the team has been working on over the last few months around the new information architecture and navigation of Planet 4, which essentially brings in the new way we organize our content and we make people access the different sections of our sites, but also how we structure our pages, which kind of new blocks will be introduced, new features and stuff like that. So it's really a big piece of work, and will obviously represent the 2022 priority. So that's why we are here today. We're just gonna go through quickly what happened over the last few months with the working groups, what this may look like in reality with a few Figma prototypes with Magali. And then I'm gonna do my best to do this for Susie, who unfortunately is sick and cannot join today or yesterday, with trying to show you what will happen in 2022 with the pilots and the additional waves or cohorts, as we are calling them right now. Any questions? Feel free to either drop them in the chat or raise your hand. You know the deal, and we'll chop them out of the recording, so it's totally cool, just to make it as slim as possible. I guess that's it. Over to you, Magali.
Thanks, Luca. Yes, let me share my screen to show the presentation. Okay, so just a quick recap on what we've done so far. So basically last year and also at the beginning of this year, we went through like the understanding phase and a big audit to collect like all of the data that we could, and also collected some qualitative feedback. And we wanted to answer mainly this question, which is what are the pain points that we want to address with this new information architecture project? So based on that and on all the data that we analyzed, we made an initial proposal to identify and offer some potential solutions. And then based on this initial proposal, we created working groups with most of you, but yeah, people from different NROs to see how will the proposed solutions fit in with our existing content strategy and identify what could be the best based on NRO's needs. Then we started the working group 2 to test our assumptions and also how we can measure success based on these new solutions. And then working group 3 and 4 we're here to see what kind of process is going to look like also for to apply these big changes to the project and to the product. And then with all of the working groups combined, we came up with this implementation plan. So where do we go from here, and who is mainly responsible for what? So I'm gonna just quickly recap what we've done in the working groups. So basically, the first working group was about defining content for like the main categories and pages according to NRO's current and future content architecture. So what we did in this working group was to actually refine the initial proposal. Again, that better meets NRO's needs. And also we identified new page types, such as a new action page type. And we defined some content frames and taxonomy model for this new proposal. And we also talked about how we can better share content across NROs, and more specifically for NROs that don't have like a lot of capacity to produce or create new content. And then at the end of this working group, we also delivered some finalized wireframes based on all of our discussions. So you can read more about like all of the outcomes of this group if you click on this link. And of course, see all of the wireframes that we came up with. So the first working group is done, but we are actually in the middle of running the working group 2, which is about helping co-designing usability and A/B testing to test our assumptions and also define key metrics. So basically what we've done so far is to define a global testing strategy for this project. We actually ran 3 tests for P4, and also with the Brazilian team to test like the new site structure and more specifically labels, their location within this new site structure. So yes, you can read more about like the test results if you're interested in. And at the moment, we are running more usability testing with prototypes, meaning that users can actually see like the new designs and the new interface. So I come to it later in this call. And yes, so this working group is not over yet, so more outcomes will come later next year, of course. Yes, so as for the working group 3, they define and strategize the implementation. So basically how they will implement all of these new changes and what should happen manually versus automatically, these kind of discussions. And this group decided mostly to do things manually, specifically for content and taxonomy migration. So the idea is that NROs have the opportunity to review content as they go. And yeah, also maybe identify opportunities to actually create some automatic tools, such as a bulk edit tool to migrate some of the content, some of the existing content to this new information architecture. They also identified pain points and opportunities and tie them to how we prioritize solutions, and decided on which suggested solution will be part of the MVP that will start in Q1 next year. As for the 4th working group, Nikos, would you like to say something about it?
Yeah, this one is still in progress. Kind of in 3 meetings so far, and so more of the things are still being discussed. But the main things we identified is that we want to use feature flags to NRO, so to give them time to create new content and new taxonomies for the new features, so they can, on their own time, on their own pace, they can enable the IA features as we go. And the second big part is that we need to do some investigation either in native WordPress blocks, like the column block, the query block, or the navigation that it's coming in the next version of WordPress, but also in features like block patterns to see how they fit in the IA functionality, because some of them actually provide the functionality we want, and it's just a matter of doing some minor overrides, either CSS overrides, UI overrides, and have the functionality we want without the need to create our own custom blocks. But yeah, still in progress.
Thanks, Nikos. Yeah, and I think that's it for the working groups. I mean, the main outcomes of this. Yeah, and just a quick recap on like the key pain points and opportunities that we have identified so far, and what are the proposed solutions for it, and the ideal outcomes in terms of key metrics. So basically, the main pain points were that we have high exit rates on the product, and more specifically on the most visited pages, such as the post pages and the take action pages. We know that users have trouble finding the right content, or some users. We have low traffic on some pages, such as Act and Explore, issues pages, evergreen pages, and that the taxonomy is unclear for end users, but also for content editors and internal users. So the proposed solutions that we are offering with this project is a better navigation system, meaning that we are offering a more flexible primary navigation. So basically, we allow now admins and editors to have more items in the primary navigation menu. We also offer more in-page links and content for end users to being able to navigate through different pages on the site. And we also want to improve the visibility of the categories and the tags, and also their use in general. We also want to improve engagement user journeys with this new action page type and taxonomy that we have is its own place in the backend, which will also offer us to do some nice things in the front end as well. Yeah, and we want like action pages to have like clear purposes and use gravity forms for engagement opportunities. The idea with this new solution is also to improve the content creation process with new and improved blocks, an improved taxonomy, and we want to also offer workshops around better content strategies. As for the ideal outcomes and like the success metrics that we would like to get from this new project is increased time spent on sites, increased visits on action and information pages, hopefully increased conversion rates on actions and donations, increased success rates on finding the right content for, from the end user's perspective, and more relevant actions for users to take. And what we want to keep in mind, and yeah, what we've kept in mind so far during all of this process is like what is based on end users' primary goals, which are first find the content, learn about a specific topic, and then act. It seems obvious, but yeah, I think it's good to remind this. And we based basically our prototypes on these core actions in our user journeys. So how the future of Planet 4 will look like, we are going to see that in a minute with some prototypes and different scenarios. So for the scenario one, the idea is that as a user, I want to learn more about deforestation. So let's see that. Can you still see my screen, guys? Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, cool. And is it like the prototype?
Yes.
Cool.
It's pretty.
All right. Thanks. Yes. So keeping in mind that one of our main user journey is that users coming from organic search looking for something specific to find. So they land on the home page. They might probably scroll down the page or not, but let's imagine that they scroll down the page so they can see like something around like the 50 years of Greenpeace. Of course, this won't change at the moment, the carousel header. A specific section to highlight what are the specific issues that Greenpeace is working on, and they can learn more about the campaigns. Read our stories, so you can see that we want to offer like a grid view instead of a list view, or have like the option to do so. So that means that it won't be replaced by the list view, but users will have the opportunity to choose that from the backend. We can have like specific sections to highlight and to redirect users to like the About Us section and main category. Oh, I can also see that as a user, Greenpeace actually win campaigns. That's great. I want to read more about their victories. So these are basically new blocks that we are considering. As a user, I can also see that I can take actions. That's great. There are a lot of things to do. And yeah, I can sign up to their newsletter if I want to get updates about their campaigns. Cool. But today I came to learn about deforestation. So let's see what I can get from there. I can see like the get informed, and there is a forest page. So I click on the forest page. And basically the idea of this new page will be to have like different high-level topic pages, such as forest, oceans, climate, etc., where we can expose like some reality check and facts at the top of the page. We can highlight the main problem for this topic. We can deep dive in other specific topics, such as deforestation, forest fires, species extinction, indigenous people, etc. But this is really specific to forests. Also, what Greenpeace is doing about this topic, the key moments. So basically have timeline block for it, a bit improved compared to what we currently have. We can have a call to action block just to highlight one specific action. In this case, we can see that we can do that for a quiz, for instance. And again, all of the actions that users can take on this topic, the latest news and stories, investigations, and again, a newsletter sign-up form. So yeah, I just want to read about deforestation, and then I'm derived to a deep dive topic page, which has the same kind of layout and template than the high-level topic page, but more focused on a specific topic. So yeah, that was scenario one. Any questions on this? All right, let's see scenario two then. Okay, so for this scenario, I'm a specific user and I'm reading stuff on social media. I'm following Greenpeace, and I can see this post about COP26. So I'm interested in reading more about it. So I click on the post and I land on a post page. So I read the article. That's great. I can see that I can take action on this topic. I can read more about the author. I can see related tags. So if I want to read more articles about COP26, I can just click on the tag at the bottom of this page. So this is new compared to what we currently have, because currently the tags are at the top of the post page. But yeah, I would like to just read more articles about climate in general. So I click on the climate category here at the top of the page. And I can see that, oh, I can learn more about climate. I can also take action, but I can see like all of the articles related to climate. And if I want to just jump from one topic to another, I can do so here, which is great. But yeah, let's read another article then. Okay, so I'm reading the article. I'm learning a lot of stuff about this. That's great. So I've decided that now I just want to sign up for the newsletter because I just want to receive more updates about climate. And now I can do so from a post page. Yay, awesome. All right, scenario 2 is done. Let's go to scenario three, and after that, I'm gonna be over. Okay, scenario 3. I'm a user coming from organic search, and I just want to take action. I don't know what I want to do, but yeah, I'm just landing on the home page. I can see that there is this take action entry point in the primary menu. So let's go to that page. All right, I can see that there is an overview. Oh, Greenpeace is asking me a question about what am I into? Great, I can see some different filters. That's cool. I can see that I can do some daily actions, so I can start small. And if I'm interested in doing like more bigger actions, then I can support a cause. So, oh, but for today, I just want to sign a petition, but let's see what they have. Oh, I can also take action with Greenpeace, join other activists, join local groups of discussions, work with them, join a ship. I can raise awareness in my community, start my campaign, share my story, educate, find some educational materials. That's great. Or and I can donate too. Awesome. Okay, but yeah, I just want to sign the petition today. Cool. Let's see. Okay, I want to read more about the problem. I know that I can take some more actions, but yeah, I'm just signing the petition now. Oh, cool. What you can do next? I can share and take more actions. Oh, cool. Awesome. And that's it. Yeah, so basically these scenarios are based on what we know from the main user journeys and what are also the primary goals from the end users. So yes, just to give you an overview of like the future of Planet 4.
I'll do my best to act as Susie, obviously not as good as they would, but I'll certainly do my best. You should be seeing a Miro board that is also linked in the agenda. Cool. So let us start off with a bit of a like visualization of the timeline of what has happened so far. I don't know how many of you were in the first kickoff call of this big piece of project that essentially was bringing in the data that we collected last year and over the last few months that was essentially inspiring the vision of all this. So this is where everything started in the first part of this year. And then in the second one, a lot of people also from this group joined the various working groups that actually brought in what you just saw and what you're about to see, because there was a working group that was really dedicated to the implementation phase. Now we are over here, as Magali said, we are running some usability tests in some sites, defining the prototypes and stuff like that before taking a break and starting with the new year. What's going to happen? That's more or less the idea. Please note that these are just dots on a board, and there may be obviously delays, hopefully anticipations, but most likely delays, because the idea is, as everything we do, is to pilot it with a bunch of volunteers that have expressed interest. In our case, or in this case, Brazil, Nordics, and Belgium as our first offices to get the first version of this MVP, so minimum viable product, which I'm going to go into details in a second. The idea is to use the first quarter of the year for both the Planet 4 team to deliver stuff and the NROs to do everything that is in preparation to actually get this. So taxonomy review, content strategy, and stuff like that. I'm going to go through in details in a second. And then take a break in the second quarter of the year to actually review what has happened and how we can industrialize all the learnings that we do, because that's what pilots are for, right? So they get the technology first, but then they also take part in analyzing whether this experience was successful or not. And the idea is to progressively roll it out to a bunch of NROs in cohorts or waves, according to whatever is the capacity of the team to support it, or the NROs to proceed independently and stuff like that. It's still to be determined. But the idea is that the Planet 4 team would leave full freedom to the NROs to adopt all, part, or progressively as much as they want of this piece of work. The core releases one block NROs from keep working or keep adopting every bit of it. So NROs are not forced to have everything done by, I don't know, end of 2022. Let's make it clear. Now, adopting, what does it mean? We try to like flesh out what it means. Now, in this bit, which I'm going to go through every single step, what you see on top, so the red stuff, is stuff that the Platform team will deliver. What you see at the bottom in the violet color code is what NROs are supposed to do to actually use these deliverables at their full potential. Right? So we start with the step one. That is actually something that will happen very soon, that we're already preparing for. The first priority that has been identified by the working group dedicated to the implementation phase has been to somehow rehash or deliver stuff that will power a new navigation posts, actions, or as they are currently called, the take actions, and taxonomies. Why? Because, well, posts and take action are the most popular piece of content of our sites, and well, you cannot achieve a new content architecture, content navigation, information architecture and navigation without actually having a new taxonomy and the navigation. So so that's why, and essentially what will happen is that the Platform team will be delivering primary navigation using the menus that you saw on top on the navigation bar using the default WordPress menu system, and the new design for categories and tags. So what you just saw here, so just to be clear. So these were the new tags that will be delivered, and the category space. This will be delivered first, and also along with two new page types. So as of now, you all know that you use essentially two page types, default and evergreen. There will be a few more. One called actions that will be essentially replacing the take action page. And there will be obviously the introduction of new take action box out, new covers. So we are exploring whether we use the default WordPress one or not, and a new action type taxonomy that will allow NROs to pull out actions of the same type, so to say. So if you have all petitions, you can, you know, pull them all together into one block, or all signups or events or whatever sort of engagement opportunity your NRO provides you. NROs will be able to pull them out all in one block. And the Platform team will introduce also listing pages, which are essentially pages that collate or you know, include all posts or pages that share the same category or post type or author or whatever. So it's essentially like a congregation of content called in these listing pages. Obviously, these will be new design that now will replace essentially the category and the tag pages. This is what they will go. And there will be also a minimum viable project or a project plan or some sort of scoping out of the form block, which is what Kenichiro was asking before. Essentially, using the Gravity Form plugin, the idea is to provide one place to create all the forms on your site, and then connect it to whichever sort of digital engagement platform your NRO is using, Marketing Cloud, HubSpot, Engaging Networks, or whatever, from one block. And obviously, the 2022 with the information architecture and the form block, it's really the two main priorities of next year coming to product development. This is what will happen in the first step that will be delivered by the team. The NROs will have to go through taxonomy cleanup exercises, obviously, to check whether the existing taxonomy supports a new information architecture or not, and if not, what needs to be changed. There will be workshops for writing for the web, essentially to make sure NROs are on top of the latest trends of web content creation, so to say. And obviously, none of this is obligatory, apart from taxonomy cleanup is strongly recommended. But NROs can also run SEOs reviews and SEO strategy if existing data or past research indicate that their Platform site is not doing so bad, or if they want to change something somehow. Obviously, the output of this piece of work for NROs will mean that new primary menu items will sparkle, categories and tags obviously will come up from this new taxonomy, action types as well. Yeah, essentially, if there is any updates to be manually done, everything that is corresponding to these new page types. So all the actions and listing pages will have to be ready by the end of phase 1. Coming to phase 2, the team and the working group number 3 has decided to proceed with the implementation of the minimum viable product in the sense that they would address pages, blocks, and listing pages. We just saw what they are. Essentially, what we'll bring in this phase is a new page header, which is what you just saw, like the image with the text next to it, that protect the forests that Magali just showed, which essentially is going to replace the background image that we have right now. This is mostly for accessibility reasons. And obviously, as Quentin was saying before, NROs are free to play with images as much as they want. There's no obligation. And there will be a bunch of out of the box or default layout that will come in with this phase. That means that people will get access to a bunch of default composition of blocks that will compose a campaign page, a topic page, or a listing page. Obviously, NROs will be able to move them according to whatever is their desire, but this is the recommended setup that will get you to what you just saw, to the prototype. Essentially, what will happen is that all these will bring in a bunch of like featured action that you just saw underneath that, and also the load more of posts will be or covers will be replaced by the pagination links and all these little details that improve accessibility. Along with that, a bunch of updates to blocks will be done as well. Grid layout will come in to our article block, and the view all link will come in also to support the article block instead of a continuous load more scrolling. As Nikos was mentioning before, a bunch of new blocks will be brought in as well. Quick links, for example, which will allow people to just drop quick links wherever they want in any page and reuse them, of course. Call to action. And also, as he was mentioning before, the assessment whether a bunch of out-of-the-box Gutenberg blocks will actually fulfill what we need in terms of columns. So if we can just rely on default functionalities instead of keep customizing blocks. As it happened in phase 1, what will have to be done on phase 2 in the NROs, on the side of the NROs, or on the offices that actually use the tool, is to actually create those pages, create those campaigns and topic pages, either using the default layout that will be provided or just customizing that one, either migrating them from existing ones or creating from scratch, whatever you feel like. Obviously selecting the listing page and feature action, it's basically creating the content that will populate these new pages. Last step, I'm gonna stop talking very soon, I promise, is to create the main pages. So the pages that you see accessible from the menus, the top bar menus, right? All the pages that essentially replace the existing act or explore or get informed or whatever our stories. The pages that represent the main navigation, these we call main pages because we only have one homepage, but multiple, I don't know, section pages, call it whatever you prefer. And these are called take action. Obviously, we replace act, the existing ones, with a more complex design. Get informed, or the current explore, which is the on page to learn about new campaigns and topics and stuff. And obviously news and stories that are all the consolidation of the existing posts. Okay. We don't feel like it's fair to promise other blocks and components because they are still under study, but there may be some stuff coming in. What needs to be done, obviously, on the NRO sides to follow up on this third part is to create all these pages. So these new main pages, take action, get informed, news and stories and stuff like that will have to be populated with your content and taxonomy. I'm done. I have one more slide or two, I think, and then that's it. And then we can open up for questions at any point. As we said before, working with pilots, this is obviously an ideal plan, an ideal scenario. Pilots will be critical for the team to assess, understand whether this is appropriate, too aggressive, not too much, not enough aggressive or stuff like that, it will be fundamental to understand whether this is feasible or not and in which timelines. And as we said before, the amount of time and energy any office puts into that is really largely up to you. Do you want to have a site that abides, that does this within the shorter amount of possible? Then your office allocates a project manager, content coordinator, or whatever is it that you need. But if not, obviously no one obliges you to adopt all these right away and right now. There are obviously a few things people will have to update. There is some work to be done on the NRO side. Don't expect that everything will be migrated manually, automatically by the team. There will be a new content strategy, for example, to come if you want to use these features at the full potential. And the taxonomy review, as we mentioned before, is really the only step that needs to be done. Like, they really have to be done. It would be fantastic if you could take a snapshot of this. Obviously, we will send you the slides along. These are questions that we'd like you, well, some of the offices over here, like Nordics and Belgium, are part of the pilots. If your office is not part of the pilot, you will hear from us sometimes over the second quarter of the year, so April, May, and June. But if you want to start understanding whether and when your office wants to jump on board, please take a snapshot of this, and because these questions will be useful. Which content you want to keep, review, update, what do you want to do with SEO somehow, which period of the year would be best for you to do this project. Obviously, there are some peaks of activities during which your resources are busy, and who will own this piece of work in your office. Last slide. What you can expect from the team is obviously training, documentation, usual stuff, fun, GIFs and emojis, taxonomy, way to run your taxonomically workshop, sessions to write for the web, as we saw before, tips and tricks for SEO. We are not going to do a full analysis before. We are certainly sponsor one at the end of this project, but not before. And I guess that's it. And it would be fantastic to know if you lack some key expertise in your office, like, I don't know, project management, and let us know whether we can connect you with someone else in the NRO community that has these skills, or within the team. I'm done. I spoke more than I wanted.